suspicious building. I'm here to talk about the catalogue. It's always good when you're trying to understand a modern concept to look back into the history of the old world. And there isn't too many other buildings in this town that really symbolise the old world than number 10 Trinity Square. I think that's the address anyway. Number 10 Trinity Square, which is the old building for the Port of London Authority. It's got a statue on the front, a rather naughty statue, of what is apparently Old Father Thames. Although he does seem to be a little bit like Jupiter, not Jupiter, he looks a little bit like Neptune, and he also looks like one of the Bee Gees. I mean, there's no getting away from that. He's pointing towards the outside world. This is the building that essentially used to be in charge of all of the ports of London. So if any point you had to go through a dock or a gate on the water, you had to, of course, state your purpose, state your designation, your name, or the name of your corporeal being. I'm talking about the corporation. Of course, the East India Company was, you could say, one of the earliest sort of proper international corporations, and they did a lot of drug smuggling, they did a lot of tea smuggling and stuff like that. It wasn't tea smuggling, obviously. And these guys, of course, knew exactly what was going on in all trade because they regulated the trade. It does mean, of course, that if you have information that other people don't have access to, as in the information of who's trading what, how much things are trading for, because the customs house is just sort of down the road next to it, where all of the trades of imports and exports would all be written down and analysed. Of course, that's a perfect scenario for insider trading. Now he's pointing towards the outside world. I just got distracted for a second because I saw these guys. What are they doing? Just enjoying the sunshine, having a little rest. And there's another one somewhere over there. Just having a little rest. You know, they are not freaked out by some of these like weird things surrounding here. Of course, the flag that I showed you at the very beginning is, well, it's the obviously not showing us, but it's the pyramid with the Vesica Pisces in the middle, which is basically what automatically makes me think that this building is suspicious. There we go, look. Yeah, you've seen that already. Of course, he's pointing towards the outside world. You could say he's pointing to the boundary of the Thames, which is exactly what he's pointing out. The Thames, of course, goes through Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge, you can just see over the top of the castle over there, was built as a regulation gate, so people, boats and industrial vessels that were coming through had to state their purpose, state their name, show their ship's manifest, and essentially it's a regulation gate to create a catalogue of who is doing what. The signifier that you are entering the boundary of an authority, of course represented by this building, is at the furthest eastern extent of the River Thames, and it is a thing, it's in a place called Yanlet Creek, Y-A-N-L-E-T Creek, Yanlet Creek. And if you look up on Google for Yanlet Creek, you know what you're going to find? You're going to find this. And of course, an object like that, an obelisk, is a signifier of an authority that isn't just representative, isn't just representative of the London Port Authority, but just of the authority in general. Now, I mentioned the old world. Of course, the new world has a similar kind of authority. The new world, of course, being, the Americas. So locked down was the authority in this town, at least, that, of course, a dream was born of founding a new authority in a new world, because, this town is fairly well established with its cabal, and the cabal, of course, are that, still represented by the London Port Authority and the City of London in general, is sort of unelected, immovable, immune to any national political process. There was a protest. And if you are doubting whether or not this thing is, like the true symbol of the sort of new and the old world, well, all you have to do is if you look where Yanlet Creek is, it's in a place called All Hallows, and just next to the London Port Authority building is this church, which is All Hallows by the Tower. And of course those guys who dreamt about crossing the waters and founding a new world away from this authority, forming their own authority, and therefore starting their own catalogue of all the corporations, all the corporeal beings that it controls. The reason I'm walking along here in this rather strange shot is I've just realised that the plaque I wanted to show you is actually just around the corner. But there's a plaque on this building that tells us all about the New World and why it is attached to this particular place. I'll get there in a minute. It's coming up here. Quick, while there's no traffic. Oh, you can't see it. Again, professionalism is key. Enfranchisement. The enfranchisement of women. There's a human traffic jam. How am I going to get through that? Just wait it out and I'll go. It occurred to me when I watched that wonderful... Oh my god, I'm going to die. When I watched that wonderful video by Russell Brand when he interviewed Ed Miliband, that actually Russell Brand doesn't understand the idea of suffrage, because he confused suffrage and women's suffrage. Look how red I am, it is really hot today. And it occurred to me that possibly many people don't understand the word suffrage and where it comes from, and so I'll take this opportunity to talk about it a little bit. The year 1432. 1432 equals 10, Illuminati confirmed. I am just joking, of course. It's most probably coincidental. But in 1432 was when the ordinary guy in this country got the right to vote, and it was called suffrage. Not to be confused with women's suffrage, which of course was much, much later and turned into universal suffrage, meaning everybody has the right to vote. The Latin word suffragare is where we get the term suffrage from, and it just means to lend support. Essentially, it means to vote for something. And back in 1432, it was said that men having a certain amount of land were able to vote for a representative of their views in Parliament. Of course, in order to gain this amazing prize of being represented in Parliament, you had to give over your name, your date of birth, your land holdings and proof of your land holdings, and essentially you became part of a catalogue. So what the suffrage movement achieved, and also women's suffrage and universal suffrage in general, what it really achieves is the creation of a catalogue of all the people who have an interest in disturbing the business model of the masters, the owners, your owners. Suffrage wasn't really about affecting change in the political system. I don't know if you've realised, but when you vote for somebody in your local area and they stand up in Parliament, they have the ability to then question the actions of the leaders. And of course, does that question actually lead to any change in the behaviour of that leader? Well, no. They can just, when the question is asked, they can just fob it off and change the subject or give them, sell them a lie. This is what politicians do. So that's the amazing achievement of the right to have somebody represent your views. It's the right to be ignored by proxy. The real business model and the real change that is brought about by suffrage is the catalogue